hear that? Nothing. It's quiet. Happy Labor Day! There's no construction on Labor Day, so it's nice and quiet, and I have a very rare holiday off. This like never happens for me. I'm usually working holidays. It's part of being in the hospitality business, but for whatever reason, I have today off. So I'm going to relax. I'm gonna do some fun things that make me happy, which include wine tasting, of course. I'm also gonna go hunting for some figs because it's really hot here, and if I do not harvest these figs from my neighbor's backyard, they're gonna go bad, and I feel like that would just be a shame because the figs here are so delicious. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go hunting for figs. I'm gonna make some fig ice cream because I have a secret love of making ice cream. It just makes me happy. And I'm gonna relax and I'm gonna taste some wines that I haven't had a chance to try. And you guys are gonna hang out with me. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you had a wonderful Labor Day. And let's see where the day takes us, shall we? We're out looking for walnuts. No. Not looking for walnuts. We're out looking for figs. I think they're this way. We're looking for figs. I don't even like walnuts that much. I like it for nocino. We're out looking for figs. I'm not gonna say we're thieving, but they're definitely not from my fig tree. Just to tell you that much.
Keeping the neighborhood clean.
That's right. Keeping the neighborhood clean. So we found the tree. Jerusha's getting the good fruit up top.
Oh,
uh-oh.
You're right. If they fall on their own, they're ready to go.
Have you ever picked figs from your neighbor's backyard? Does this feel weird?
This is amazing.
I know. So Jerusha just moved from New York, kind of like I did, and this like notion of being able to just walk around and find fruit on trees is a very unusual one for me. So I try to take advantage of that. Like all up in this, right up here. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch over there.
Oh my god, yes. This is so rad.
Look at that. It's like finding treasure. So exciting.
Oh my god, this one's so ripened. Maybe already a little dried. A little sunburnt. It was 110 degrees.
Yeah, right. It's gonna go into ice cream. It doesn't matter.
So good. Concentrated flavor.
You're very good at this. I'm glad I brought you along.
I'm about to climb up in there.
Do it. Technically, we're on an empty lot right now. Nobody, there's no house here. There's nobody that really lives here. So this tree gives figs like every year, and they just kind of sit here. Nobody takes them. So I've been like making it a point every summer to make sure that I go and harvest. So I don't want you to think I'm like actually stealing these figs. Nobody actually really owns this tree, I don't think. If you do, please let me know and I'm happy to pay you for them. But I just hate to see fruit go to waste, especially when it's figs and they're so delicious.
And the entire season putting all of its energy into this fruit that somebody needs to enjoy.
I agree. Okay, I'm home. I have my figs. Yay! And now I'm looking for a recipe, which I think that I found for the fig ice cream. So I need to just double check. So the Saveur magazine has this awesome fig ice cream recipe that I think will work. So now I just need a few more things. I'm gonna head to the grocery store and get the remainder of my ingredients. Let's go.
Can't breathe if it isn't you and I. And I won't make it without you by my side. I can walk, can't stand, can't talk, can't fly without you.
Distracted by the wine section, as usual. Only acceptable cream to use when you're making ice cream, and it is available, is this. Strauss Creamery is the most delicious cream on the face of the planet as far as I'm concerned. I have all of my ingredients out and measured, just like they do on the cooking shows, and now I'm gonna get going.
I don't care what the others say, and I still think of you night and day, and yeah, I'm lost my way, I can't walk.
While that's stewing, I think now is a good time to open some wine that I've kind of been wanting to taste. So a couple bottles that some friends gave to me to try. I'm pretty excited to try them. Both are the same grape. Both are what I consider the world's second most misunderstood grape, Chardonnay, with the first misunderstood grape being Riesling. I think Riesling gets like the worst rap in the world, and Chardonnay is maybe just second to that. So we're gonna be talking about Chardonnay. And in theory, both of these examples of Chardonnay should be a little different. I think, you know, typically people hear Chardonnay, they think oaky, they think buttery, they think, I don't know, they think all these things that Chardonnay necessarily isn't. So we're gonna taste two examples today. One I am semi-familiar with, and the other is a brand new wine that I'm hoping I can find for you guys. An importer, a guy who has a friend that imports this wine gave it to me, and when I went to go look it up, I couldn't find it anywhere. So hopefully by the time this video comes out, I will have some sort of answer as to where you can find this. So Chardonnay, at its core, is a really beautiful grape that takes on several different personalities depending on where it's from, depending on how it's made. It can also vary greatly in price. I would say on average, you should expect to spend anywhere between $20 and $50 on a good bottle of Chardonnay, 50 to 150 for like a really good Chardonnay, and then maybe 150 to 300 for a pretty exceptional bottle. Okay, so I have these two Chardonnays, and they are from two different parts of the world. One is from Burgundy in France, and then the other one is from Santa Barbara. Should be a fairly interesting comparison. If my recollection is serving me correct, this Burgundy wine is actually really inexpensive. I think it's around like $20. And then the Santa Barbara one's a little more expensive. It's between 60 and 70. So, like I said, there's a lot of factors that go into why a Chardonnay would be more expensive than another. One would be really good quality of grapes, so expensive land, and the other would be oak usage. So the more expensive the oak, the more expensive you can probably expect it to be. All right, so I'm excited to try this. This is the one from Burgundy. This is a 2015 Bourgogne Blanc from Chapuis and Chapuis. Like I said, I don't really know much about this wine other than somebody gave it to me and he was like, hey, try this out. And I was like, cool, I like Burgundy. So let's try it. Chardonnay at its core is very appley. It usually smells like some variation of apples, some variation of orchard fruit like pears. This is definitely giving me more pear, like a d'Anjou pear than apple. It smells really good. It smells clean. It doesn't smell like there's any oak in this at all. Wow. There's a lot of acid in that. Recently the question came up about acid. So I do want to talk about that because I think there's a sort of discrepancy as far as what acid is and how you feel it and what it is in the wine. Acid is literally something that is measured in the wine. It's the amount of acid literally in the juice. So the way that your mouth will measure that, and your mouth is always trying to retain some sort of general neutrality within it. So as soon as you put acid in it, you're gonna salivate. And the more you salivate, the higher up you salivate. If it's really close to your ears, the more acid is in the wine. So that's typically how I measure acid. This wine, I'm salivating up to my ears. So I would say that's medium plus acid. If it's like puckering, like I'm squinting and there's a lot of salivation going on, that's like super high acidity. But I would put this medium plus, which you can definitely expect from a Burgundian Chardonnay a lot of times. Very minerally, very clean. Not a ton of texture, just a tiny bit of weight, but it finishes really soft, really pretty. This is definitely a wine that wants something like oysters or some sort of raw shellfish. It can handle a salad, but it doesn't have a ton of complexity. It doesn't have a ton of dimension. And the acid's really bright. So this would be awesome for somebody that's looking to transition out of like a Sauvignon Blanc or looking for really great high acid, crisp wine. This is a great value. I would definitely drink this all day long. Cool. I like it. Next. All right, next up, Santa Barbara in the house. D'Alfonso-Curran 2013 Chardonnay from Santa Barbara County. I really like what's happening in Santa Barbara. I think there's some exciting things going on. A lot of really cool producers, a lot of people playing with Chardonnay, a lot of people playing with Pinot. Definitely a revolution happening down there, and I like it. Another friend gave me this, and I remember trying it, and I remember going, either my palate is in like a really good spot right now, which happens, or this wine is like one of the best Santa Barbara Chardonnays I've ever had. So he gave me a bottle to try again, and I really wanted to save it until I was ready. So trying it again at the moment of truth. I'm hoping I like it, because if it's as good as I remember, you're gonna love this. It totally is. Oh my God, it's so flinty. There's also like a richness right behind it. I'm expecting this to be flinty again, but also have a little bit of weight and texture and a little bit of something under there. totally different than the other one, and still not like a crazy oaked wine. You can feel that the wine itself, aside from any oak usage, had a lot of weight by itself, so it needed a little bit of oak to kind of support it. It's kind of like if you're cooking like a big steak, you need to add some salt and some pepper to help stand it up. This one is the same way. Wow, this is fantastic. I've really been enjoying some of the Santa Barbara Chardonnays, and this definitely reaches the top of the food chain as far as I'm concerned. It still has a really great roundness to it, a really great, long, strong finish. That flintiness really carries through to the palate, but it's also inherently California. You know, even though it has this really great old world Burgundian feel to it, the fruit's ripe, and I think it helps the wine. It doesn't feel overly ripe. It feels right and balanced, and it makes it really beautiful and lovely. Definitely a lot more weight and structure than the little white Burgundy before, and like I said, this is like between $60 and $70, so you're paying for better fruit and you're paying for a little bit more oak usage. But yeah, I think this is really fantastic. Cool. Well, I'm happy that I got to try this again. I'm happy that I got to try the Bourgogne Blanc. Guys, if you're thinking about Chardonnay and you're thinking about whether or not you're a Chardonnay fan or not, just remember that it comes in all shapes and sizes. So before you write off Chardonnay, make sure you try a whole bunch. Make sure you try some from Burgundy. Make sure you try some from California. There's some really awesome Chardonnays being made in Australia. So try them from all over the world. They really take on many different personalities, and I recommend trying to find the one that fits for you. Me, I like this style of like a really nice flinty Chardonnay. I love that kind of nose. I love when it has acid. I love when it has texture. I love when it gives you all of those components and just really kind of blends them all into one. I think it makes for a really beautiful symphony of flavors. Speaking of which, it smells like I've got to check on that fig compote situation for our ice cream, so I'm gonna go do that now. It smells delicious. Okay, now we're gonna make the ice cream and then add this in after. All right, the ice cream is getting nice and thick. It looks delicious. It also tastes delicious. I did sneak a little bit.
Still can't talk.